The name of the session is Be Prepared for Tomorrow, but we have today a real mess in the House, and I have to go to the House as we introduced a special resolution of non-confidence vote to the government of Ukraine. So this is for today, and we are to present as an opposition this resolution, and you know, in order to have tomorrow, we need to resign this government today. And in this case, we can have really tomorrow. But on the global perspective, you know, look, when we switch on TV set, one can present a very gloomy picture of what's up in the world. Terror attacks, pandemic, never-ending and ongoing economic crisis, even existential crisis in a number of countries and unions. People are scared, people are feared. And I would resume that actually the key factor in today's global world is a certain type of uncertainty. But on the other hand, look at the data. What happened in the last 5 decades? The life expectancy is growing in the world. Even the average Chinese, for today, the average Chinese is 10 times richer than it was 50 years ago. And the life expectancy is 25 years higher than it was 50 years ago. Look at the mortality rate. Yes, we had the First World War, the Second World War, a number of terror attacks, but the death toll is constantly going down. Look at the economy. Yes, we faced a tremendous economic meltdown and huge economic crisis on the one hand, but on the other hand, the pace or the trend of the economic growth is 60% higher rather than it was 2 decades ago. So the world is actually developing. And we are not to present a gloomy picture. We are to shape the scenario of the future. The number of challenges we face: wars, terror, and military and even nuclear threats, what we got after the last statement of this new dictator in North Korea, when they actually canceled the armistice agreement and decided to become a new nuclear empire. So the world has to be strong. Strong to tackle any kind of military invasion and any kind of military threats. For today, in the world, we have the only tough and strong institution, which is alliance, which is NATO. And let's be frank that this is the only vehicle today that can withstand the real threats and that can tackle the terrorism. Yes, we need to overhaul. I mean, we as a NATO, we are not the NATO members, and it's a pity because in 2008, Ukraine had a chance to sign MAP, but this chance, it was a waste of time, but not a realized chance. We definitely need to overhaul a number of international institutions, including NATO, but this is the organization that can really fight with the military threats, and not military threats, but with the threats in general. Economy. WTO. This is the organization where Ukraine is a member too. We need to increase the role of WTO in order to accelerate the global growth, in order to stop the trade disputes and trade wars, and to make the WTO as a key engine how to develop the global economy. Let's take into consideration the United Nations. We are all the members of the United Nations. This is the joint, I would say, committee, could be the joint committee how to reform the world. And the world has to intensify, and each member has to intensify its work in order to make the world better. So we have a number of different kinds of international organizations, of multilateral and bilateral agreements. What we don't have a united political will of every country, of every international organization to reach the target. And the target is to make this world better, to have this tomorrow, real tomorrow, to tackle poverty. This is the key issue for everyone in the globe, to decrease the energy consumption and energy dependence, to fight with pandemics, to fight with terrorists, and to develop the world. My last remark on the way how to develop the world, yes, on the one hand, we will do our utmost in order to change and in order to increase the role of international organizations and to make them more efficient. But the key factor how to develop the world, it's not just the country, it's not just the international organization. It's more about every human being. It's more about education, intellect, and it's more about the vision. The key role for my country and the most important thing we need to implement is to make Ukraine a pro-European state. And one can ask me, look, do you have an action plan? What kind of reforms you will implement? What kind of legislation you are to introduce? And my answer in these circumstances is very short and simple. We have a draft DCFTA and political association agreement. This is the best action plan. This is the best agenda. We don't have to invite the bicycle. The bicycle is already invented. We have to ride, to take it and to ride. And yesterday, we as the three opposition leaders signed a joint statement asking the European partners to sign the CFTA in Vilnius summit. Despite we fully realize that we have huge problems with this president, with this government, and with the political persecution, and with the number of things that has to be improved. But this is the historic momentum for my country. And I would underline again, a historic one. We lost 300 years, starting from the year 1654, when Ukraine didn't become a part of Europe. We don't want to lose another 300 years. We want to be the part of Europe. We don't want to join any kind of new Soviet Union, because customs union is not an economic entity. This is the clear-cut political entity, and we want to develop our country with the European standards, with the European values, and with our European partners, which are actually EU member states. So I believe that we will have tomorrow, and this tomorrow will be definitely bright, and everything depends on us, on everyone who is even sitting in this room. The smarter we are, the better we are, the stronger we are. If we act decisively and if we act boldly and wisely, we can reach this target. And the target is better world. Thank you.
Arseniy, thank you very much indeed. Before you dash off, I just want to ask you one question then about Vilnius. You know what you want to see happen there. Give me a level of optimism that there will be signatures on the paper.
I am very optimistic. Because this is not just the signature. This is not the formal deal or formal act. This is the future of a 45 million European nation. This is one of the biggest countries on the European continent. And our future is in Europe. And we as an opposition will do everything in order to seal the deal with our European partners. They are our family.